Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. This is a show that reviews everything from the movie Citizen Kane to latest, greatest, craptastic movie like Damage Control with Jay Leno and Pat Morita. Today we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and the man who shot the sheriff, Ryan Preston. This week was my pick, and I picked the movie Forbidden Planet. This week also, James brings you some movie news at the end of the program. But before we start talking about what we thought about the movie Forbidden Planet, we really wanted to talk about our rating system. How do we view the 1 through 5 system? And James is going to bring us that.
Like I said, we discussed and I brought up a few ideas to the guys, and they kind of agreed with them. That are, for 1, when we give it a 1 rating, it just means that it's just horrible. There means that none of us liked it. There's nothing good about it. It was just really horrible of a movie. And number 2 is that there are little or no redeeming factors at all. And number 3 is that the movie was okay. What it set out to accomplish, it did, but we didn't really enjoy it a lot. And number 4 is that we enjoyed it and it accomplished everything that it set out to do as far as the movie goes, plot, storyline, everything like that. And number 5 is that we utterly enjoyed it, and it met or exceeded any of our expectations of what we thought we were going to see when we either read about the plot or saw the trailer or preview or whatever you want to see about the movie. And
I'd like to point out also that all these ratings are actually an average system as well, so all the ratings we give at the end is going to be average between the three of us.
Yeah, so what that means is if John gives it a 2, I give it a 3, and Ryan gives it a 2, it's going to be a 2. It's really simple. It's not very difficult at all. But we just wanted to give you guys something that you can have a basis on instead of us just randomly throwing out numbers.
Yeah, what we do also do is on the website is I do give you all the... Sorry, having a little technical issues. What I do is I give you what James is rating, my rating, and Ryan's rating, and then we're going to give you our average rating of what the combined score is.
Yeah, of the Real Flix guys.
Yeah, just in case you happen to like my opinion, James, or Ryan's better, so you can see that, or do you like all of our opinions?
Right, so if you're saying you're going to look at the rating for Super and see my rating and think, oh yeah, this actually is a good movie, and these guys are completely full of shit.
Yeah, on his rating, don't worry.
What was that? All I heard was just...
Yeah, I'm going to have to remove his rating, because I'm not quite sure if it counts. To get to the movie review, this week I picked Forbidden Planet. It happens to be one of my favorite movies. It was made in 1956, directed by Fred Wilcox, Fred M. Wilcox, I'm not mistaken. This movie, from everything I've read about it, is really innovative in the way it did a few things. Gene Roddenberry himself even said this is one of the things that really influenced him in the Star Trek.
I can kind of see that in there.
Yeah, the United Planets thing. Leslie Nielsen was in here.
Right, yeah.
And he actually had dark hair.
Adams.
Yeah.
Ironically enough.
Yeah.
And if everybody's probably aware of what Leslie Nielsen did, in the 80s and up. But before that,
Naked Gun?
he really was a serious actor.
Yeah.
For many more years than he was ever a comedic actor.
Yeah, and I actually do like him doing the serious roles over the comedic roles, although there are a couple comedic roles that he did very well.
No, I
well, sure, but he was one of those character actors that just floated from, every single series that was done from probably, late 1950s up until, late 1970s. He was in every episode, every TV show that was on, from Bonanza to MASH, and everything else. And then, floated in and out of these TV movies and things like that. But, mostly as a serious actor playing the Colonel or something like that.
Yeah. And one of the things they say it was also revolutionary is the audio, the music on this was revolutionary. Some of the sets were... Overall, I personally happen to really, really like this movie. I have to say, though, it's a little slow. I think this is more closer to hardcore sci-fi as you can get in the 50s than it is kind of the modern idea of science fiction.
That's one of the things I put out, is that the movie, for its time, was cutting edge. It just doesn't hold up in today.
No,
most of the things they said, as I mentioned to you when we were watching the movie, is I wonder how much of this stuff for that time was gibberish or speculation as to what different types of radioactivity, radio waves, and thermal nuclear fission and things like that they didn't really understand in 1956. I mean, for some of you guys who don't really have a concept, this is before they even went to the moon.
Yeah.
The moon wasn't even anything other than just some lofty idea at that time. Something up in the sky.
And for a little background, if nobody's a history buff, the atomic bomb was 1949. So this is, less than 10 years from that. So the idea of the atomic bomb, what that stuff really was, they didn't know.
Did you mean 1945?
1940. Yeah, excuse me. 1945.
I knew what he meant. I was letting him go.
Yeah, I just I didn't want to start getting angry emails and whatnot.
No, you're right. So it's more.
No, I was going to encourage that.
Oh, God,
Jeez,
I get enough.
Bailed him out, man.
Thank you. Then I will buy you lunch next time. It's more than 5 years. More than 5 years. Excuse me. I correct myself. So the knowledge of the average everyday person wasn't really there. So they could just come up with lines about the atomic ray gun or
right. Yeah, I mean, this was writers, not scientists, and well, like you said before, I mean, this was as close as it really got to hardcore sci-fi, unless you're talking about like the really deep cut sci-fi novels.
Yeah. The Invisible Man or something, or 1984.
Right. Well, I mean, the whole comic book thing, starting in like the really like the late 30s, kind of as a war sort of, everybody was fighting Hitler at the time, but I mean that kind of birthed the whole popularity of the sci-fi thing, and then people started getting really deep into it and things. For 1956, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1956.
For this to be as good as it was, I was pretty shocked.
Yeah, one of the things
like you said, a lot of it was speculation and things, but
yeah, one of the things I really wanted to point out that maybe some of you viewers, you younger guys, didn't know about the movies and the special effects that are done in here. These were done by hand.
Yeah.
These
a
were
lot
camera
of
tricks,
artists, renderings of drawings in the background.
Yeah, paintings, drawings on set of wood that these guys put together.
And don't forget about actually drawing on the film. Some of the effects were physically drawn on the celluloid or whatever they were using at the time.
Right, exactly, because this was pre-chroma key.
Yeah.
Nobody was using green screen. This is before somebody could superimpose anything on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So you're literally painting onto the frames themselves and printing them like that. I mean just the art of editing back then, when you actually had to cut film and tape it to the other part of the film.
Yeah,
people have no concept of that thing.
There was one scene where he hits a button and all these doors come out that
right. No, that's classic movie magic.
Yeah, that was really cool for the time. Now you're looking at it kind of chuckling because you're like, come on, but
I mean, it's just the old school look. It's forced perception. It's what magicians thrive on. It's literally just it's as simple as a camera cut. You stop shooting, you put up a panel, and you start shooting that panel, and you cut and put up another one, and you get the effect. But then you're watching it at home, especially in the 1950s, and your mind's blown.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of go back just a little bit to talk about what parts don't stand up on this. I agree completely with James. Some of the scientific stuff don't stand up because today we understand a lot more about technology, science, the atom.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it stands up. I mean, you're right. It's not today's CGI. It's not today's.
Well, I mean, okay. My biggest kind of pet peeves of this movie would have to be the concept of this perimeter fence thing. That
I
little.
That.
I mean, if they made it work, that'd be pretty cool. But just looking at it and having some idea of it now, it's like basically an electric fence. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Wait, to me, it was the graphics in it were reminiscent of like when they started to do like cartoons into like the Mary Poppins style of.
Oh yeah.
Into animation kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was that weird kind of Cool World sort of effect. It was bizarre.
Okay, and the other one was the UFO ship. Now, if you actually watched those little
pogoed
platforms and everything, yeah, it was basically it landed on a pogo stick.
Right.
And then these two doors came down, and looking at the size of them walking down those steps and how many of them fit in the spaceship.
Oh, you're bringing up
food.
the clown car aspect of that thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I actually wrote that down. It was one of the things that made me laugh. There is no room for anybody in there.
Yeah. So that was one of them. I understand, and I mean, John kind of was like, come on, dude, give him a break. I mean, the only concept they had at that time was the flying saucer.
Yeah, I mean,
unless they really thought through it in like a Doctor Who, and it's like bigger on the inside sort of thing.
Yeah. So,
but I have a theory of. I mean, I don't know why they're flying saucers. Unless I have a theory about this. It's actually, really, really, really deep into this. Like, we are the aliens, essentially. we came back in time after we, like developed our planet, and then came back to like whatever 1967 or whenever the Roswell thing was, and crash landed our own spacecraft.
Yeah,
just 300 years of the past.
Yeah, I've never really understood, and I'm a big fan of the 50s sci-fi horror movies. I've never understood why the UFO shape was really I've never understood that.
Insane.
I think of their
look, you're flying this through space, and there's no atmosphere, and it's a vacuum, so you're able to just thrust around and things. But then you get into a planet's atmosphere, you're just gonna crash like a rock.
Well, I think what their concept was of aeronautics at this time isn't as advanced as it is now.
Well, keep in mind, we didn't even go to the moon yet. I think we launched a couple of rockets.
Yeah, and they all failed until the fact that they kind of figured it out.
Sure. What was the first satellite was Sputnik, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the first thing that we really shot up, or that humans shot up and stayed in space. What year was that? 61? Something like that? It wasn't before this.
That I don't remember.
It was around that time. I don't think it was 1961. I think it was...
I know it was early 60s, because it was well before we went to the moon.
Honestly.
Okay, viewers out there...
Space race. Anyway, I didn't want to get into this.
Yeah, viewers out there, forgive us for not knowing the date that Sputnik went out into space.
Yeah, along with forgiving me about the day the war ended. And I'm a history buff. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to pass it off to Ryan, because I know Ryan took quite a bit of notes about this movie.
Yeah, I was wondering...
And I'm kind of curious about this. I want to see what your big standout things were.
Okay,
before you jump
I have a handful of things here.
I got one thing I want to mention.
Wait, hold on. We're
fighting.
We're talking over each other.
We're fighting here.
Sorry.
Hold on. I wanted to bring up one thing, though.
Oh, sure.
Now, some of you guys may be watching this movie. You may not understand. They actually did shove somebody in that Robbie the Robot.
Yeah, there was somebody in there.
His name was Frankie Darrow. This is very hard to find out who actually was in there. The dude was actually 5'3". So it kind of gives you an idea of how big that, robot is. And the robot also weighed 300 pounds.
Did you mention the cost of it? Because the cost of it,
I was surprised. The cost of it was $125,000 in 1956.
Wow.
Now, for some of you guys out there who may not understand how much that is, that's about $1 million in today's currency with inflation and everything going on.
So it came out to be $1 million?
About $1 million.
And nowadays, a producer would get fired for something like that.
Well, nowadays they'd make some CG annoying thing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
so that robot wasn't some wimpy, chintzy effects. That robot
that
actually
high end
was
back in the day.
high end.
But it played on camera like the 300 pounds. You could see the bulkiness of that thing waddling around.
Yeah.
I am curious, Ryan. Have you seen this movie before? Because I know James has.
No, I never actually have. You know what? I think I ran across maybe a piece or two of it on Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm pretty sure they did this one. If I'm not mistaken, and I might be, but it definitely seems like their wheelhouse. But as much as I thought of it as a Mystery Science Theater type of thing, I was pretty thoroughly entertained. I mean, it dragged me in pretty good.
Yeah, the storyline and things like that were pretty good. But go ahead, Ryan. You had a handful of things you wanted to mention that I want to give you time for.
Yeah, I had a couple things I wanted to bring up. One I wanted to start with was the sci-fi predictions that this movie, because I love watching old sci-fi movies and seeing what they got right and seeing what they were kind of shooting towards or what they thought humans were capable of. This one in 1956. This is really the epitome of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For example, 1990 is apparently when we landed on the moon.
Wait.
They
1990?
They mentioned the last decade of the 20th century was when we got to the moon. They were off. I mean, shoot it. They 10 years later, if that.
Yeah, a little over 10 years, but
a little over 10 years, and we were there. At the year 2200 was when we discovered the other couple hundred planets surrounding, the galaxy and whatnot.
We could do that.
Soon after is when we discovered the hyperdrive, apparently.
Wait, when?
They had ray gun technology, which I think they mentioned was powered by some type of atomic fission.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is where they got the atomic fission wrong. I'm like, come on, guys.
That was bugging James the whole time.
And space travel and colonization of other planets, but they only predicted furniture up into the 1960s. Which really bugged the shit out of me. I loved the idea of the disintegrator beam as the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Went right past the trash compactor, so I dig that. That trash compactor was a waste of time. They're still rolling cigarettes.
I did see that. I'm not sure if that was cigarettes or not, but I'll let it slide.
Well, I mean, 1956, they were still technically part of a military organization.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm pretty sure homie was just rolling up some buglers or whatever the hell they were
was
selling.
it me, or did they seem like part of the Navy?
Yeah,
they seem like what?
Part of the Navy branch instead of the Air Force.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying, because I was going to bring up, because everything was nautical, which seems to be the case with any kind of space exploration. They still called the guy Skipper, which I loved. What's it called? Let's see. They didn't seem to understand any concept of a microprocessor, because every computer was still room size.
Oh, yeah.
I like the viewing plate.
Yeah, the viewing plate was pretty cute.
They actually brought up at least a portion of the 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah.
They brought up the first one.
Pretty forward thinking, because I'm sure they didn't have any kind of major robotic going on in late 50s.
No, that was already out.
Well, yeah, that was from Asimov, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly. I did read that when I was doing my research on Robbie the Robot. Yeah, the concept of the 3 laws were before that, at least I can't remember. It was a good many years before that the 3 laws of robots came out.
Wow, okay, so that awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty sci-fi in and of itself. I mean, just the
excuse me.
Robots can't harm humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love the spaceship clown car. That kills me to no end.
Yeah, sorry I ruined that one for you.
The one that the tractor was the one I didn't understand.
Yeah, the tractor was kind of cool, but I mean, I was giving them a lot of breaks, because I do understand this was like the first major full-on sci-fi movie that was going for forward thinking. But it was 1956. So I cut them a lot of slack on that.
But you'd think they'd make something other than having to go to the back of the vehicle to get in.
I know.
Yeah.
But
I basically, look, up until this point, nobody was doing sci-fi like this. Like I said, the deep sci-fi stuff was all in novels.
Yeah.
It was all, everybody was coming up with these crazy, sci-fi things, but only writing them down because that's the only way you could tell the story. So for this to come out at that time and tell that story as well as they did is look, as many holes as you could punch in weird plot lines, especially watching it in 2012, for crying out loud.
Yeah, you could pick a lot of holes.
They told that story in a way that nobody was really used to, at the time, and which still, kind of holds up today. Like I said, like it brought me in to the story, and to a point where I wasn't sitting there pointing out all the weird things. I mean, of course I was writing stuff down, but at the same time, I mean, I forgot that I was, even supposed to be reviewing it, and I just kind of got into the whole, what's her name?
Shoeless girl.
Altera?
Right, I was trying to think of her actual name.
Anne
Francis. Oh, man, she's a bit of all right.
Actually, she was.
getting really deep into the whole, like, oh yeah, she really has been here alone, and then of course she would start falling in love with all these guys, and why is he explaining that he's gonna rape her while he's trying to do it? You know, oh, this is what a kiss is. I mean, I was wondering how far that was gonna go until Leslie Nielsen showed up.
Okay, now was it me, or was all of her outfits for 1956 on the verge of porn?
Oh, totally.
Oh man, I mean, shoot, you watch the show Mad Men or something like that, and you see these women completely covered. You know what I mean? You were pretty risque if you were showing any leg at all.
Yeah,
and
if you saw an elbow, oh my gosh.
Yeah, wow. She was dressing like Mary Ann just about every opportunity she got.
One of the things I wanted to point out is I think for a movie of this era, is the best I think you can really hope for is to really be dragged into it.
Yeah.
And that to me is a sign of a good movie. I mean, it really is.
The story and the plot, did bring you into it. That is true.
Yeah, do you get lost in the story? Do you care what happens to the people? You know, do you want to see what happens next? You know,
do you want to see Morbius get killed?
Yeah.
Right.
Like the first time I rooted, I saw him like, come on, Robbie, kill him.
Right. Yeah. Is he a bad guy or is he not? I mean, you know, you're kind of asking yourself the questions the whole time. You're not really worried about, you know, what everything looks like or how a ray gun actually works.
Well, okay, for me, it's like those ray guns needed some Viagra.
They were little like pew pew. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I could dodge that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the one thing, but you know, overall, I really liked this movie. I am personally really hard pressed to get at a 4 or 5 rating. I really want to give this a 4, but I have to give it a 3. I do think it accomplished everything. I really loved it, but I just can't give it more. As much as it bugs me, I can't give it more than a 3.
All right.
And I love this movie. I personally own this movie, so.
All right, Ryan, what are you at on it?
I'm giving it a good solid 3. I'm kind of with John on this as far as I kind of like to give it more, and I'm sure if we were reviewing this 20 years ago, I'd probably give it a 4. You know what I mean? But you know, there was a lot of groundbreaking things in it. You know, so I mean, yeah, just a really good solid 3. It was for everybody too. I mean, this isn't one of those things where I have to break apart a section of people to recommend this to.
Yeah. All right. You know, like I said, as I cut in a lot of breaks for being 1956. I personally enjoyed looking back at a lot of the skill and
totally.
Talent it took to put this movie together.
Yeah, hell yeah.
With the lack of CG, with the lack of any computer that Ryan just said. I mean, studios back then could not really afford computers, guys. That was a
computer
big...
$8 million in the size of, you know, a room and a half.
Well, computers didn't really do what they do now. And basically,
no, they didn't do what they did then.
Crunchers.
I mean, yeah, that's what computers were for back then, was number crunching. Nobody really had the concept of, oh, wait, I could create 3D images on a computer.
Right, graphics did not exist.
Yeah. So a lot of those things, that's something that when you watch a movie this old, you have to take into account. Now, based on what we just said as far as our rating system, this one definitely gets a solid 3. If we're looking at it to hold up for technology and advances of 2012, it's going to be a 1.
Exactly.
But if we look at it for these parameters that we've put together as far as a movie goes, this is a 3 on the verge of a 4, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And I mean, even if you're gonna sit there and pick apart the movie, you can just still sit there and marvel at the influence that it had on sci-fi still to this day.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that to me, I had a point, but it totally just went like this to me.
Like everything else, though.
Oh, that's cruel.
Right.
You know, like James, Ryan, and I said earlier, this movie is, it's the skill that really made this movie. I mean, I loved everything about it, but the skill, the traditional, the handmade effects,
the art,
This movie is not something they could do today because they're reliant on so much technology,
right?
That that the technology becomes more of the story than everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, it really isn't even about wouldn't want to do it like this, because obviously that would come into play. No, you really can't do something like this anymore.
Do you have a monkey going on there?
There's nobody with the skill to put something together the way that they did back then. Like, I mean, as far as just editing and superimposing these things, by hand.
Ryan, what are you doing?
I beg your pardon?
I hear we hear the scraping sound.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting something off the top of my computer.
Oh.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Totally distracting.
We both got looking at each other like, what the heck is going on?
If you haven't noticed, we all have attention spans of hummingbirds on crack, so it's...
No, I was going to bring up, there's a scene in there where he's walking them through the interior of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That
whole scene's amazing.
That if you guys don't sit down and watch it and have a concept in your mind that this is not computer
generated, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
this is not computer generation.
It's all
this
school
is
camera
all
tricks.
skill done by cameramen, by special effects guys who took the time and either drew this stuff out or, as we said earlier, on these little tiny pictures that were filmed back then, they drew it on that.
And this should really be, in my opinion, this should be filmmaking special effects 101.
Yeah.
Because to me, this is something that Hollywood was lost.
All right, so
the idea of practical effects is really dying out. Very few people are actually trying to keep it alive.
Yeah.
So, we have our score. Now, James has some movie news. It's his week to pick out his favorite movie news of the week. So, what do you have for us, James?
So, now, I hope some of you guys will actually recognize this director's name, director/producer. I'm thinking and hoping Ryan will. I don't know if John will recognize this guy's name, but Guillermo. I got a stuffy nose. I can't even say it. Guillermo del Toro.
You butchered that name.
I know. I keep on butchering it. The guy who directed
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
The Pan's Labyrinth dude.
Yes.
Love that guy.
So what is he doing?
Big chubby guy with a beard.
Yep, chubby guy with a beard. But not Kevin Smith, guys.
Or Peter
No,
Jackson.
not that chubby guy with a beard.
Now, if you guys have not seen Pan's Labyrinth, we're probably going to do it in the movie show. I have it in my list. Ryan probably has it in his list.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, get down there and watch it, and then you can join us when we rate it. Don't know when that's going to happen. But he is putting together a live action in 2014 telling of Pinocchio.
Ooh.
This is a dark version of Pinocchio. Now, if you guys have not seen Pan's Labyrinth, sit down and check this one out. One of the things I'm a little bit kind of on the fence of is that he's got Daniel Radcliffe as one of his leading actors. This is all rumored. This is going to be out in 2014.
Like as Pinocchio? Does it give you
Now,
what
I'm
he's
thinking
playing?
he's going to be Pinocchio because he's still young. He could pull off something like that. Now, I don't know if you guys have actually seen the one that he just did recently, The Woman in Black.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
He actually pulled away from Harry Potter in this movie. You kind of kept on forgetting that he was Harry Potter. Then all of a sudden you realize he is, and you're like, dude, where's your scar? Where's your scar?
No, I'd be waiting for Hermione the whole time to save him.
Yeah, well...
Is it still going to be a period piece?
I don't know. It just says that it's going to be a darker version of the telling of Pinocchio. Now,
right? Yeah. Well, I mean, because that movie, even the cartoon, had a couple of dark moments in and of itself. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see his wacky little spin on it.
Here's my thing real quick is if it's about Pinocchio, it has to be a period piece because I don't think that would do very well in the modern world.
No way.
Because I don't think the atmosphere of the story itself would lend itself.
Yeah.
You need that old school England, turn of the century England kind of feel.
Yeah. And he's also got another thing in the works coming out in 2014 as well. Now, I'm sure John remembers this TV show. I'm going to see if you remember it, Ryan. But the old Incredible Hulk TV show. The short-lived. Yes. The short-lived one from, 88?
80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
Bill Bixby.
Now, he's doing it with David Icke.
Who's David Icke?
Hold on, I'm going to explain who David Icke is. He's one of the writers from Battlestar Galactica
Aha.
Oh.
and Caprica. He was very influential in both of those two.
So it's going to be long, drawn
But
out.
hold on.
boring.
I actually enjoyed a lot of the storytelling and the adaptation they did of the new Battlestar. Ryan agrees with me on that one.
Oh, I know.
They really actually kind of did a good job on it.
It's up there with The Wire, for crying out loud.
So Guillermo del Toro and David Icke working on this one. It can be good. Now, David Icke does have some negative points on him. He did Bionic Woman
The TV
from
show?
07.
From 07? I never saw it. Did you
It
see
was
it, Ryan?
out for like a week.
Did you see it, Ryan?
The Bionic Woman?
Yeah,
the one that came out in
The
2007.
remake of the TV show?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I think I just remember hearing that it was
out, and then
off,
it wasn't.
And they got it canceled pretty quickly.
It was basically on for a week. And then,
Well, here's
hold on, I'm not done with his bad news here. This guy also did a lot of the episodes of Hercules, Kevin Sorbo. He even did the episode where Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, meets Xena.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the 90s, that was a good show.
Well, he also wrote the made-for-TV movie Hercules and the Amazon Women.
But I mean, all of these things could be explained by paydays and things. You know, hopefully that he's kind of teaming up with somebody that he possibly respects and has some creative input with.
Here's my main factor is another Hulk movie.
A TV show, not a Hulk movie.
Okay, it's a Hulk TV show. I mean, there's right now that's like the bastard child of Marvel right now.
Well, this is
what's
like,
next, Ant-Man? I mean, do they really need anything else but Hulk? Seriously?
Hey, Ant-Man and Wasp Girl.
Ant-Man would be pretty awesome, actually. I'd be into that.
But,
I'm getting smaller. I'm getting taller. Yay!
The thing about it is
if they made it as a comedy,
the TV show, the Incredible Hulk TV show, just based on these two guys coming together, can be good. It could be good.
I'm sorry.
Or it could be really, really, really bad.
To quote Bart Simpson, I think it's going to both suck and blow. I don't know how. I'm just sick of the Hulk. I mean, he's not personally one of my favorite characters.
I like him better than Superman, and any of you guys out there, Hulk can beat Superman.
Well, Hulk, pretty much, I mean...
Here it comes.
Look, if we're really going to get this far, he almost can't be killed.
Exactly. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. You punch him, he gets mad. He gets stronger.
Wait, after all this time, I thought you were going to offend Superman.
Oh, no, he's smarter than that.
Well, because James said you really like tights. So I was thinking, okay, so I was wrong.
All right, anyway. So my big excitement is to see a Pinocchio done in a dark way that hopefully, like Pan's Labyrinth, can be rated R.
Well, I think...
Well, look... This is my hope. I'm sorry, John.
No problem.
Somebody like Guillermo del Toro. Wow, I butchered that too. Guillermo del Toro.
You noticed I'm not saying.
Hopefully, he realizes he's one of the smarter people that realizes. And I'm just speculating. I'm really hoping that he just realizes that nobody is excited as like they were to see all these remakes. I know that's kind of what people expect from movie studios nowadays, is just kind of rehashing old stuff from the past. But hopefully he understands that people are kind of seeing through, like, okay, look, you're just trying to make money, so we're not as into these as we once were, so you better make it good. Hopefully he kind of takes it to heart and says, like, no, I understand what your feeling is about remakes and things, and that this is going to be worth it.
Well, I think here's the number one key. It's not Disney. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think Disney has done some stuff that I'm still surprised they did, like the movie Hocus Pocus, stuff like that. But if it's
everything they did in the 1940s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racist and racist.
Damn it.
We did that at the same time.
But it's not Disney. It's not going to be Disney way. And I haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth, mainly because I've been waiting for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it.
Good on you.
I thought you saw it way back when. Oh, okay.
I never had the chance or wasn't interested at the time.
That's a good one.
But it from everything I've seen, the trailers, it's a dark movie. So they have to. If they're going to do Pinocchio again, which it's been done to death, they've got to do it.
And it's been done campy, and that's why I'm very excited to see how Del Toro does this.
I mean, it's Jonathan Taylor Thomas campy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I really am. I want to see the dark, the grittiness, So I'm actually, this is one I'm excited about. Is that any other news you have?
No, I was just looking up at him and seeing what he's coming out with, because I really, really do enjoy some of the movies that I've seen him do. My biggest fan of Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, cannot say how great that movie really was.
And next week is James' pick. So what's the pick you have for us next week?
Well, you know, I warned you, and I warned you, and I warned you about picking a 50s, you know, sci-fi / horror movie, which is what, you know, Forbidden Planet can be classified as. And, you know, my pick...
I did it on purpose, ladies and gentlemen.
I really can't... I mean, I could say what this is, but I had to find something just to kind of give away how great and exciting this one is, because this is one of those... All right, I'm done.
Attack of the killer tomatoes! Attack of the killer tomatoes! They'll beat you, bash you, squish you, mash you, chew you up for brunch, and finish you off for dinner or lunch.
So, if you guys haven't even heard of this movie, as the theme song hints, it's called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
And this isn't made by Uwe Boll or Troma.
No.
Oh no.
So, guys, if you have difficulty finding this one, which I'm sure you guys will, just put in the effort. This movie is worth watching. Yeah. So, pass it back off to John. That's our movie next week.
And for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and
Goodbye.
Ryan Preston, see you next week.
Take care.
This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.